You started Trance, I think, before the Olympics and then completed it afterwards. So was it kind of a good personal refresher to have something to go straight back into after, doing something as mammoth as that?
After all the after the distortion of your presence in something like that, the Olympic opening ceremony, I'd never done anything as big as that in my life. It was lovely to go into something that was kind of half finished, because we'd shot it during the Olympics. So it was wonderful not to have to start again immediately after the Olympics, but because you want to keep working. But even more than that, it was actually the fact of shooting this while we were preparing the opening ceremony kept us sane, which is ridiculous considering it's a sort of film about insanity, partly. But it actually kept us sane, because it's the Olympic Games that would drive you mad, preparing that, because it takes so long, it's so much committee work and stuff like that. And it was lovely to be able to work sort of at night on our dark movie, our evil cousin of the Olympic opening ceremony, the bad, mad, dangerous to know story, which is not family friendly and not, national celebration. It was lovely to be able to do that.
Do you kind of see parallels between yourself and maybe Rosario or the character in this movie? Because you're manipulating an audience and she's kind of putting people into a trance. So are there similarities that you saw yourself there?
It's actually every film. I mean, you're aware of it on this because of the subject matter, but every film's the same. They are hypnotic. I mean, if they work, people come to a dark room, there's a flickering image, and they believe. It's a complete illusion. They believe it. They cry, they laugh. I mean, it's ludicrous, but actually you do. Obviously we need it. It's particularly acute in this, and we certainly set this movie up. Every decision we made in it was basically a seduction, like a relaxation, like a kind of like come with us kind of thing, which is what she does obviously with James McAvoy's. And obviously the film is based on a series of trances, and yeah, we were very conscious that our overall job was to make a trance really of the whole movie.
Did you and John Hodge do any research into it? Did you go under yourself?
I didn't go under myself. I'm a bit of a control freak, to be absolutely honest. I'm not absolutely sure whether I could relax enough ever to do it. But thankfully, yeah, we did a lot of research, and thankfully it is true in the film what she says, that 5 to 10% of the population are extremely suggestible. And thankfully McAvoy's character is. And what happens in the film, although it's ethically, very dubious, it's clinically possible, and people don't like acknowledging that because they want to reassure you about hypnotism, that you'll never really be fully asleep, you'll always be aware of where you are, and it won't make you do anything you don't want to do anyway. All that's true for the other lot, but for the 5 to 10%, they're the ones that movies are made about.
I think I read in a book a while ago, I think Amy Raphael wrote it, it was, you mentioned Ingenious Pain, a novel. Is that going to be a movie that you're going to do in the future? Is that your next one that you're working on? Or?
We're working on a couple of films, both of which are, weirdly enough, and not consciously, but you suddenly realise that they're both period movies. So we're working on, which I've never done a period movie. So we're working on a couple of period movies at the moment. And all I can say is that they won't be like Downton Abbey, that's all. It won't be that kind of period movie.
Obviously you've made so many films that have covered different genres, so I'm wondering, could a war movie potentially be a next Danny Boyle film? Because I know you're a big fan of Apocalypse Now, aren't you? So
that is the movie to beat all movies. I will stand up against anybody and proclaim for that movie, personally. But I have to tell you also, I'm a twin, I have a twin sister, and the first movie we ever went to see, I think we were like 8 years old. My dad took me to see Battle of the Bulge, the Great War movie. And my sister, my mum, took her to see Sound of Music. So that's very much sexual stereotyping right there, but my first movie ever was a war movie, Battle of the Bulge.